Hey guys, welcome back to JAC'D with
Joel, Austin,
Caitlin and Dawn. Part 1, we told you guys about the Maura case and all the different theories, the story behind it, everything like that. So today we're going to go down the table and talk about our favorite theories and what we think actually happened. Austin's going to start us off.
Okay, so I think, and I haven't really heard a whole lot of things going towards this, so I don't know if I'm like way off or like if I'm kind of on the right track, but I think it's the coach. So
Time out. We didn't really talk about the track
Yeah.
coach last time, so if you want to kind of tell them the backstory of that first.
So she was having an affair with her track coach, which she loved track. Like she did track and field like all the time. Her dad was kind of, I want to say harsh, like, or hard, like he was very hard on the daughters to like do good grades, do good in sports, all this. Well, so when she had the affair with the track coach, it would make sense that she would want to run away with him because she, like we explained in the last video, she already had lots of reasons to run away, but I don't think she wanted to go away for good. I think she just wanted to like kind of have a breather. On top of that, she already had to go possibly because she had a speeding ticket. She was going like 99 miles an hour on a 65 mile an hour road. So her ticket must have been stupid expensive. But on top of that, it would have taken her license, so she would have had to get it reinstated in whatever state that happened in. So she would have, the only problem with that is it was an hour and a half away, like from her destination. But she could have like done that, you know, had like a day or two with the track coach and maybe saw her mom because her mom was bedridden. So I feel like she just wanted like kind of a weekend getaway, maybe not a weekend, but like a couple days to not only get away from all the stress, but also to get the stuff done that she already had to get done. And I think he went with her because all the things saying like a guy maybe smoking a cigarette and stuff like that, like it would make sense that he was there. And I mean, if he's running away with some, you know, kid that would stress him out. And you know, it was said that when people like when the bus driver, I can't think of his name,
But Atwood.
when he came to the scene and only saw her,
Yeah.
I mean, he probably hid it. It was dark. It makes sense that he wouldn't have seen her or seen him because he didn't want to get seen. I mean, I wouldn't, you know, I don't think anyone in that situation would have wanted to be seen. So it would make sense that he didn't see it. And so when they were going in, there was that like little span of like 8 minutes or whatever. I think an argument happened. He did, like I think he maybe realized that he was in over his head or what have you. And I'm not sure exactly if she's still in the cabin that they found the blood, and maybe, you know, he just kind of came back to town with like, okay, that's it. Or, but I believe that they had an argument. It was maybe they were maybe fighting about, you know, whether they should do or not do. And then one thing led to another. And I think he either killed her or she got injured somehow and he like hit her. But I do believe that he has something to do with it.
Do we know the whereabouts of the track coach when she was missing? The night she went missing?
Not when she went missing, but the James Renner?
James Renner.
Okay.
The author?
Jeremy Jones. Oh no. Yeah, the author, he tried to get like a confession from him, like what happened.
Yeah.
But he lied the first time. He said that she must have, because there was this big ordeal that he took that her social security card, like the number got pinged. So, and it was from some store that she had like one of those cards to.
Mm-hmm.
So it would. He said that she might have like stolen it or whatever, which would have made sense because she, she got in trouble for fraud. She stole a credit card for pizza money and stuff like that. So all that made sense. But then when the author put that on one of his vlogs, people like kind of poked the holes in like that theory.
Uh-huh.
And the author was like, hey, people said that, like, people stated why that doesn't make sense, what really happened. And he said that he kind of became obsessed over her story. Like,
The track coach?
No.
The guy that used her card.
Yeah.
After.
And that's why he, like, used her card is because he became so obsessed over her story of like getting lost and stuff, which still to me didn't make sense.
Yeah.
And that's what all I think. Sorry for I rambled, but I was trying to like piece things together, and when I ramble and piece things
That's
together,
a lot of info.
Yeah.
Anyway. So you think it was the track coach? They went away for like just to get away for a week or a weekend.
yeah, and to get the things done that she already had to, and he would have been a good person to be with. And people are always like, oh, there's enough alcohol in that vehicle for two. Well,
Mm-hmm.
So what is she trying to get?
right? I get litty lit,
Then we're good with one.
but that's what I think.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that.
And maybe he went with her to kill her because he doesn't want to get caught hooking up with one of his,
Yeah?
people attracting him. So.
I like how in depth you were.
Yeah, sorry. I tried to like have a point, and then somehow I got lost on my point, but I tried to.
You veered back a little.
Yeah, you went
It's
back.
okay, you got
Came
it.
back.
You got it.
It's all good.
You got a
Good
little
point.
jacked about it.
Hey.
No, stupid.
All right, Dawn. What do you think happened?
Okay, I have two theories. One that I was just thinking of, like, I think that whenever they brought in the psychic
Uh-huh.
or whatever
Oh
she
my
was,
gosh, that tripped me up.
dude, same.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No,
she was very.
Whenever she talked about how the friends know something, but they won't talk, and that the person that killed her was familiar, she didn't really know them, but they were familiar. I was thinking maybe whenever her friends took her to the party, maybe whenever she got drunk, she started talking about how she planned on going away and where she was planning on going away. And maybe she was talking to some guys at the party and like her friends, and like they were all talking about a bunch of stuff that was happening in their lives. Maybe she was just venting because she was drunk, because Austin does that, so we all know people that do it. And so maybe one of them caught on and then started plotting it then. And then whenever she actually
to follow her.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so whenever she actually went to go, maybe that hour that she stopped, she was at a restaurant or something, that's whenever, or like she went to like maybe stop and get something specific, and then he showed up, and then they got to talking maybe. She was like, hey, I'm going up here, and then he might have been like, oh, hey, I know some friends up there. They work at the ski
I'll come
lodge.
with you. Yeah.
I'll just come with you, and we can just meet up there. Well, then maybe he had to like get gas or something, and she was like, okay, just meet me there.
Mm-hmm.
And then she got into a crash and then started walking maybe to like a hot spot or somewhere that she knew around there. And then he pulls in, grabs her, and then takes her to those guys' houses or just wherever, and that's whenever like killed her or something. They went to hang out, something went wrong, and maybe one of them covered it up. It could have been that. Maybe the friends just aren't talking. Or I really believe one of those neighbors did something, because you're not just going to disappear behind a bus in a bus driver's house out of nowhere, and your neighbors are just not going to talk. Like, either that neighbor did something and the other neighbors are covering up for their neighbor because they're all close there.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand why they haven't searched any of their houses. I don't get why none of them will talk. Like, somebody's hiding something, and I really feel like it's one of those people. Like either they saw who took her, they don't want to say nothing. Maybe it's somebody they knew. Maybe it was the boys and they're covering for the boys because maybe they were family, or close relatives, or a best friend's son.
Yeah.
You know, like I truly believe that somebody took her that one of them knew and just nobody's talking.
See, I like that you brought up the fact that they didn't search their houses, because that does bug me.
Yeah.
You know, no matter what you think no matter what theory people have, they still need to check the houses, even if they're like 99.9% sure.
If she went missing by those 3 houses,
You can easily
Check
rule
them.
them out. Yeah.
I don't see why they
hey,
haven't.
just in case the bus driver went behind, knocked her out, left her there on the ground for a minute, picked her up so the scent wouldn't be there, or put her
Threw
in
her
something.
the bus.
Yeah,
because
they
he was a
put-
big dude.
Yeah, so he
Yeah.
could easily have put her in something to block the scent from the dogs and carry her away. And she was there behind his bus.
The cop was too chill with him too.
Yeah.
Well, it's a super small town. I feel like everybody knows everybody. So
Yeah.
if somebody knows something, I mean, who's to say they're not covering for him?
Mhm.
And what sucks is he's dead now.
Yeah.
So if it truly is the bus driver,
We wouldn't know.
unless somebody comes forward, we're never gonna know that.
And apparently the neighbors suck, so they're probably not going to come forward.
Yeah, the neighbors kind of suck.
I love
They
you so
don't
much
try-
as a neighbor. You're the best neighbor. If somebody goes missing and I see that you did it, I'm gonna cover up for like a week, and then I'm gonna have a really bad guilty conscience. I'm
What?
like, it's this hoe.
You
It's
didn't do
this
that to me.
No, I'd actually blame Austin for it.
And I'd be that. You know what? I think.
Like, I did get a little tipsy that night.
Oh, dang it.
Kate
We're
would
gonna
be in the
do
background like,
You know, I did vanish that night.
she'd be like, you know, he did go missing for about 20 minutes. No, I don't know what I would do. I feel like I would cover up until a certain point. Because after he dies, like, what are you hiding? Like, you're not going to upset him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You mean if
Well-
they know?
Yeah,
Well,
if they
because then
know.
they're going to get in trouble for
Yeah.
For not saying
concealing
something.
evidence or whatever. It's. But just the fact that he was probably the last person, one of the last. Well, okay, according to all the reports, he was the last person to see her alive. So why wouldn't you give him a formal interview?
I also wonder in the documentary, whenever they talk about getting her records and, like, putting them next to the blood samples, and if they match, it could be her.
Yeah.
I hate that they never, like, got this, like, match. Like, I
It's
hate,
very frustrating.
you know, like, I
With
hate
the wood chips, you mean?
Yeah. And then they got it and they were like, oh, well, if you have her stuff on record, you can compare it. And I'm like, okay, let's compare it. And then
Yeah.
they never show them comparing it. It's like, okay, so did they? Did they not? If so, show me.
And it's weird, but they could identify that the wood chip had male blood DNA and female blood DNA. So we know that there's one of each. It could easily fit into, this scenario. Could be hers, could not be.
And the scary thing is, if it's not hers, like,
Why is there 2 human blood up in that closet?
Hey, it could be that one chick's.
The other girl that went missing.
Yeah. Or they just freak Nancy's and that's how they like it. Like,
So, nah, come on.
yeah.
my
You,
God.
you never know.
Hey,
But I would still check that.
Yeah.
be like that one chick from Gotham. I'll take it with anything.
Alright.
Alright, well,
Those
Caitlin.
were good. My theory kind of is like your first one. I don't know if I think that anybody was following her, but I do think she definitely got in the car with somebody. I don't think she could have gotten on foot very far, only because there's no town too close by.
And how cold it was.
Yeah, but it's so hard for me because apparently there were eyewitnesses that claimed that they saw her running out into the town area. So
Really?
yeah, which they didn't talk about that on the documentary either, which was odd. Maybe they didn't.
So maybe they turned around and brought her back to town. She tried to get loose and they got her in.
Either that or she just ran all the way till she made it to town. But
But then
That seems
how
like-
would that explain the dog though?
well, yeah, so there's eyewitnesses that say that they saw her, but you know how when somebody goes missing in your area,
You want to be
Yeah.
your mind plays tricks with
important.
you, and and you're like, oh, well, maybe that was her. I think I
Yeah.
did see her running. You know, they don't know. They've never been able to 100% verify those claims. So I think that she got in the car with somebody. But as for who, I have absolutely no idea. Like, no idea. I think it could have even been a stranger. Or maybe she denied Butch Atwood because he's a scary looking dude. If he came up to my window,
Yeah.
I'd be like, no, I'm good. I would make up a lie
No, me too.
to get him away from me just because he looks
That's
intimidating.
sketchy. Yeah.
He's an older man with a beard and he's driving a school bus. So, like, I'd be like, no, I'm good. But then if somebody who looks trustworthy came up and you're drunk and you literally have nowhere else to go, maybe she did. And
And
maybe
they said
he ended up being the wrong.
Yeah, they said he was familiar, so she's already comfortable with him.
Yeah.
Enough.
And even if he wasn't somebody that she really was acquainted with, if you're intoxicated and you're out in the middle of nowhere in the snow and he just looked like if Austin pulled up and I didn't know him after Butch Atwood and I was drunk, I'd be like, yeah, sure, because like, what else are you gonna do? You know, if you really,
Freeze to death.
yeah,
Go to the creepy bus driver's house.
yeah, you feel like that's her escape or something. And she didn't want the cops to see her because she was gonna get a DUI. And she had all the other stuff that had happened prior to that could have gotten her in trouble, and this was just like the icing on the cake. So I think she definitely got in the car with somebody and ended up either in the A-frame cabin or anywhere else and was met with foul play. I think that's the only like logical explanation.
Unless that murderer
Other than
did
the
get her. The one that was there.
Israel Keys.
Yeah, unless he did get her and the other chick.
And speaking of Israel Keys, how you said like Butch Atwood, the bus driver, could have done something with her in his bus or whatever, and like his wife was there. But Israel Keys kidnapped a girl in Alaska and literally kept her body out in his shed, murdered her in his shed, kept her there for a week with his wife and his child in the house, and they had no idea. So stuff like that can definitely happen when you live with people or when you have close neighbors. Like,
Especially when you know
Stranger
they're
things
not going to
happen.
go and look, like, snoop around.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
why would
they
his
didn't
wife
do
need to go to the
anything.
garage?
yeah, or in his bus or anything. So
Or even in his car. Say he was
Yeah.
doing paperwork, but what happens if he got out of his bus, went to his car, and was like, hey, can I give you a ride now?
yeah. So I think she hopped in the car with somebody and it was just about the wrong choice because, you know, it's hard to
I feel like if she was fighting and screaming, the bus driver could have hurt her.
Yeah.
If he was legitimately just sitting in his bus doing paperwork, I mean, if somebody's gonna like start attacking me, I'm gonna scream out something.
That's the one
So
thing
he
that
would have
always,
heard
yeah.
something.
That's why I think she got in willingly because she was intoxicated, she felt stranded, and maybe she was scared of Butch Atwood at that point. Or again, there were so many factors for her that she wanted to get away from that scene.
Yeah.
Especially since she lived right there. Like, the
Who,
creepy
Butch?
bus driver
Yeah,
that
yeah,
offered
yeah.
you help lives right there.
You have no cell phone service. You just wrecked your car. You're drunk. You have open containers in your car.
My
And-
thing is, if I'm about to get in
Yeah.
somebody's car, I'll be like, you know what? Let me get my alcohol real quick. I just spent money on that.
And she was only 21, so like, drunk younger me, if I was stranded out in the middle of nowhere with no cell phone service, and I didn't want the cops to, they weren't going to help me because if you're drunk, they would have arrested her, and I probably would have done something like, I don't want to say stupid because I feel bad saying that she made a stupid choice, but I think her judgment was a little clouded.
Well, she's hitchhiked
Before,
so-
yeah.
That's true.
So
No, I don't care. 21-year-old me, 24-year-old me right now. I'm not talking to no one. I'm sitting in that car until the
Oh
police
yeah,
officer
now that
comes.
I'm like that.
I'm locking the doors. I'm crying myself to so I'm gonna just bawl my eyes out because I'm terrified. It's nighttime. I just wrecked. A bus driver's creepy up the street,
Yeah.
probably staring at me. I'm crying. I'm crying there until the cops come.
Yeah, the cops just take me away. I'll deal with it later.
Guys, this is Chewy.
you wanted to be part
You
of the
wanted to be in a
conversation.
video. What do you think happened, Chewy?
He thinks the same thing as me because I'm mommy.
Yeah, he agrees.
Thanks, baby. Such a good boy. He
You
likes
drinking
wine,
some
too.
wine?
You're like, I smell
What you got in there?
He's like, I smell it, I'm there.
No, I agree with you. If she did get into a car with someone, it had to have been willingly.
Oh, definitely. And she's probably just like, yeah, sure, get me out of here. And because she was spooked and drunk and everything else, and I think she hopped in and
drunk and 21. What I mean,
Yeah.
no offense to guys, but most guys would take advantage of that.
There's a lot of crappy guys that would do that for sure. It just sucks that it could have been a nice
better,
guy.
yeah,
You know?
or a better outcome. Like if that did happen, her be able to come home.
He could have taken her to cell service. She could have made a phone call, and we wouldn't even be here right now talking about this. It's just sad. It's just
It's
overall
so sad.
I still can't get over like how sad, like, because in the beginning of the documentary, like way back then, there was 70,000 girls missing. Like I can't fathom.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
That many missing women.
because it's not even like 70,000 missing women.
It's
Like,
children.
Just like their family alone.
I know.
You know, I can't.
Yeah. How people that have like missing, I mean, no matter how old she was, that's somebody's child. So like, I don't know how you live the rest of your life like that.
See,
you
but
know?
it also makes me wonder if the dad's missing something. Because whenever the email came through about that guy that was digging into the case, and
Yeah.
maybe he found something and then got killed in his front yard, maybe the
He was
dad's...
digging into the Maura case.
Yeah.
Oh.
Remember whenever he was talking, the email was talking about you'll end up like them?
Yeah, but
Maybe
I
he found out, either found her body or something about her or who did it, and then
And
they
he's
hurried
scared.
and killed him, and maybe the dad just hasn't found anything.
Okay.
Alright, well these were some really good points. Joel, what's your point? What's your thought?
What's your theory?
You all have like professional sounding theories.
Oh, really?
It's yours.
I mean,
Mine's gonna be trash.
I'm excited to hear this.
I think it was the 3 guys that didn't show up to work at the, what was it, the
The
ski
ski
lodge.
lodge,
Joseph
yeah.
were brothers, right?
Yeah, 2 brothers and their friend.
And I mean, it makes sense they would be at the party. Their friend, Maura Murray's friends would know them
Mhm.
somewhat, which means she would
Oh,
be.
they were at the party?
Really?
Were they?
So,
Oh, then okay.
well, we don't know.
Well, actually, they could have been.
They could have
We
been.
don't know.
Okay, see, trash. But they didn't show up to work.
All
Didn't-
3 of them. though.
Didn't they have something to do with that cabin?
Yes.
They live in that cabin.
They live in the cabin where they found the blood, and it didn't. Okay, they didn't compare the blood samples, but didn't they say it was human blood?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Male and female.
One. Yeah.
So I mean, right there,
Mhm.
if that doesn't scream it, I don't know what would. Like, and now I'm thinking about the guy that got shot. With the email mentioned the guy that got shot. What did he find out? What did he
Mhm.
uncover? But
I wish they would
I
like,
know.
go to that guy's house and dig through his stuff or something. Because maybe he wrote everything down that he was looking at. And maybe like whatever he discovered is written down.
and I feel like there might be a connection with those 3 guys and those neighbors where Butch was with his bus.
They might know each other or something.
Family, friends,
Family,
something.
I mean, yeah, it was
Family,
such a small
something.
town, like I said earlier. Everybody's
Got no
connected
idea.
somehow.
And they were saying, somebody was saying that whole town is known, it has kind of a reputation of
Sketchy people.
sketchy people.
Yeah.
So
They
it's
did
like,
say that, yeah.
so it's like it wouldn't be a big surprise if maybe they didn't have that much of a connection with those 3 people, but they were like, you know what, since they're part of our town, yeah, there's kind of a loyalty there.
Yeah.
No, I can definitely see that. Honestly, that whole town reminds me of, I don't know if y'all seen it. Have y'all seen The Village by M. Night Shyamalan?
Yes.
Oh
Oh,
my
yeah, I have seen
It
that.
gives me that
Ew,
vibe. And I
yeah.
hate it. But
That's creepy.
it's creepy, but like, when I was watching the documentary, I was like, this is like
all,
M. Night
like-
Shyamalan type.
Yeah.
I don't know. That part doesn't matter. I just
You get that vibe. Yeah, I can see that for sure.
They're
It's
relatable to
creepy.
you.
Mm-hmm.
And I almost want to say that the person who was emailing them might have been one of those 3 guys.
Yeah.
Or one of the neighbors.
Or one of the neighbors.
Because
I mean,
the neighbors would have seen that they were out there digging around at the spot, you know, maybe they emailed them
mhm.
threatening them because they saw that they were digging in it, and if the neighbor saw the 2 guys from their podcast, maybe she was like, oh, they're here to go to that coordinates, let's do it.
Yeah.
Oh,
It would
yeah,
make
because
sense.
they did go to the spot where the neighbors could have
So
easily
the neighbors
seen
would
them.
have seen that
That's
they were
true.
there, and that's how they knew that they were there going to the coordinates.
Yeah. And like,
Wow,
what
that's
if
true.
when they were the people in the documentary were looking through the woods and they were like, yeah, she would have to walk in here willingly. Like,
Maybe she did.
like the people that emailed them had to have known something. They had to have known what that guy that got shot knew. They had to have known something about that area where they gave the coordinates. I don't think it would just be random coordinates. I don't think it's a troll.
My thing is, what are those neighbors' jobs? Like, what do
What
they
are they?
do? Like,
They
maybe
wouldn't speak to
that's what I'm
anybody,
thinking.
so
Like, right? Like, take the phone records, see who
Mhm.
called, look them up, see what their jobs are, and if their jobs are in technology or something to do with the government or anything, maybe they have the skill set
Yeah.
to be able to hide that.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
if so, bow, go get a warrant.
exactly. And like my thing, I keep going back to the cabin with the blood. You can't just turn your head to the fact that they had human blood from two different people.
Yeah,
In the
those
closet.
guys should be.
Yeah.
Well, aren't they questioning them because of that,
Instantly.
regardless of whose DNA it is? Because
Yeah.
that's weird.
Yeah.
Instantly, they
It's
would
a
have
closet.
taken
If it was a bathroom, okay, because like blood, whatever. But
It
in a
got real
closet,
nasty.
And it's like, did they search Bush's bus?
no,
No.
they didn't search anything.
No.
They didn't search the bus, the house.
They didn't even really write down anything about the car.
So it's like the only people that have a definite murder on their hands, or two murders, are those three guys with the cabin
Or the neighbors.
or the neighbors. And it's like, we still don't know about the neighbor's house because I guess they didn't search the house.
They didn't search anything.
But definitely the fact that we know that those three people were
Right.
capable of killing
And off the same day.
and off on the same day, it just, the pieces
Well,
of the
they
puzzle.
called off on the same day, which is even more weird.
Yeah.
And did they say what their excuse was? Like, why did they call off?
Not that I don't know.
No.
I don't remember an excuse.
I don't know. To me, I just feel like
There's a lot pointing towards that.
them.
There's a
Yeah.
lot of blank spaces, but all the spaces that aren't blank is them.
I mean,
And the A-frame cabin, they got a search warrant for after they moved out. Cause the owners, they might have like been renting the cabin at the time because the owners were like, no, you can't search anything. Like we don't want involved, just no. And they couldn't really do it because they didn't have enough probable cause. But after they moved out, the people that moved in were like, yeah, I mean, sure, go ahead. So they did because apparently when the guys lived there or something, they put down like a concrete slab in the backyard and nothing came of it. Like they didn't really find anything, but it's weird that like 15 years later, they still had their eye on that cabin.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the cops
Have
might
a probable
know
cause
something. Yeah.
about that cabin.
They might. I mean, just like the district attorney said in the documentary that there's stuff that they're still concealing to themselves. So maybe they do know a lot more, and we just don't know it.
And that's what kills me is because that the podcast that you had me listen to, the one that I was listening to with his sister, I think it was max a year old. I think even less than that. Like
Yeah, it was
6 or 8 months.
Yeah, it was less than a year ago.
And she said that the cops like have their thought of what happened that they can't say it all. And I'm like, it's been so long that like that it almost irked me. I'm like, if I was a parent and
Yeah.
like the cop is like,
I have a theory with all of this evidence. Say it.
yeah,
I think they have a theory, but they don't have enough evidence because if they did, they would have already arrested who they think did it. It's so frustrating because that's the only thing about like you say, you're like just hold them all captive and make them tell you the truth. Like I wish
Literally,
that our
throw
criminal
them all
justice
in
system
jail.
worked that
All
way.
of them, all the neighbors, the guys, throw them all in jail, and the friends, because F you friends, throw them all in jail on death row, put them in with all them people,
And you don't start speaking
and
first.
see who starts
Right.
speaking.
It's
I wish it
annoying.
worked
And if
that way.
if some of them literally 100% are like, I don't know, and like they're freaking out, and like they're just, you could tell if they don't know, let them go.
Hook them all to lie detector
They're-
test.
yeah,
It's
that's
just
you know, obviously something's going on there they don't know, but the rest of them, somebody's gonna speak.
Somebody has to know
Somebody's
something.
gonna speak.
They have to know
And I
something.
know you can't do that, that's illegal, but bet, do it.
There's gotta be a way.
yeah.
I mean, what else do you got? I truly believe that that might work good.
or
I'm just saying, Ted Bundy got put on death row. He didn't want to die. He gave away his
And you
stuff.
know what? Ted Bundy, when they put him on
Not
death row,
saying-
they didn't
not
really
saying-
have In what?
Oh, I think you're gonna be one
no,
of those
I
people
agree with
that.
her. Like, it was
like-
just because of jury
No, they
and stuff. They
really
had
didn't have
evidence.
any evidence against them.
Yeah, they had evidence, but he had such a strong case defending himself that it was just like, oh, we think you did it.
Well,
Throw him
and
out
that's
there.
the 70s for you. But like you said, he was put on death row, and then he started singing like a canary
Because he didn't
thought
want to die.
he thought it was going to get him off death row, but it didn't. But all of the stuff that he told them
What's true?
was true because it panned out. They found the bodies where he said, so they're like, oh, you really did do it. But at first, they had like no evidence against him.
And he had such a strong case because he was becoming a lawyer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just,
The sad part, and yeah, I thought you were gonna like try because I've seen so many.
you
Like,
thought you were going to be
things-
like, oh, they
He's
put him in for
innocent
no
or
reason.
something.
well, yeah, a lot of people like defend him, and I'm like, oh.
No, I definitely don't defend him, but he
but-
really, honestly,
I truly think that he did them all. Like, he did do them all. But in my mind, I'm like, dude, he had such a strong case.
Not only, I hate how like good of like outside of the like murderer part. Like even the judge was like,
I wish this would have been a different scenario.
yeah, like
Maybe we would have met on different terms.
right.
and you would have been
You
like
could have been a good
great
person.
lawyer,
Yeah.
He was, I mean, just like,
Pause that. I'm just saying, if Ted Bundy did not bite that girl's butt, he totally would be alive right now.
and you know, they don't even use that as actual evidence anymore because it's not like real evidence apparently.
Really?
I'm like, oh wow, well they sent Ted Bundy to death row on that.
Yeah, right? Because legitimately, that was the one thing that sent him to death row.
There's a whole
Was
documentary
his-
about it on
I haven't
Netflix about bite mark evidence and how like they call it whack DNA or whack science or something now.
I mean, I feel that because a lot of people have similar teeth.
Yeah, but the whole time I was thinking, wow, that's why Ted Bundy got sent to death row.
That's literally the reason.
But look, he told them where all these bodies were, and it worked.
It worked. They found
So,
the bodies where he said he gave them the coordinates.
You know.
I'm just saying, when he wrote Hacksaw, that's
I
In
know.
that
Yes.
movie,
That
I
is-
was my whole heart. I
oh
was
my
like,
God.
oh,
Yeah.
that was the only creepy part of the whole
It
movie.
was,
And I was
yeah.
wanting creepy.
Yeah, me too.
yeah, I thought the whole movie was more of a like a Green Mile type vibe.
Uh-huh.
Like there's nothing creepy about it. It's just a movie. But that scene, like,
Ooh, I was like, ooh.
That was creepy.
Ooh.
there's horror movies that have like jump scares and all that.
Mhm.
Jump scares, they ain't scary.
That's
scene,
just creepy.
oh,
I do wish they would have shown more of that in the movie.
Me too.
It was supposed to be like, you know, the book I read that's from his girlfriend's point of view.
Mhm.
That's what the movie was based off. It was based off the book.
See, I really
But-
wish too that in that movie they named everyone. Like, I really wish like they would have went through of showing like even in the documentary
Oh,
of the
right,
tapes and
right.
stuff of like everything how they showed names.
Yeah.
They showed like pictures. They showed everything. Like I wish in the actual movie they would have went. This is where he killed his first victim. I wish they
Uh-huh.
would have been like more of like showing what he would have been like him going up to girls' cars. Hey, can you help me?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Showing
I
more
really-
of his side of it.
yeah,
and
seeing
what
more of
happened.
like how he did it and everything else instead of just
Liz.
yeah,
Yeah.
truly. I tried looking up their daughter. I can't find her. She must have
I
changed her
swear
name
I
or
think she had a
something.
different name.
She
I
has to.
would. Like,
Or maybe she doesn't even know.
Oh, she has
nah,
to
she
now.
knows, yeah.
You think?
Oh yeah.
I think.
Didn't her mom write a book?
Oh, you mean his stepdaughter?
No, his
Oh.
actual daughter.
Oh, no,
And
she
he-
didn't write a book. It was, the mom.
No, I know his ex, but like I feel like she has to know. There's no way she doesn't know.
I don't know.
Especially with all the documentaries and stuff showing her name and her mom's name, she has to know it's her mom's name.
Oh, yeah, that's true, because her mom's not, like, they
And
know
her
who
mom was
is.
proud to love him,
Yeah,
and she loved him with everything, so she's not going to change her name.
Yeah.
She's not going to hide that.
Wouldn't that be creepy if she had, like, his eyes, like his blue eyes?
Dude, she probably does. She probably looks just like him, because most girls look just like their dads. The firstborn normally looks just like their dads.
Oh. I thought your dad.
Does Melanie look like him?
I don't look like him.
Oh.
You're not the first.
I feel like the secondborn looks more like their dad, but the firstborn is like dad, and then it
Do
slowly.
you think Harper looks like
It's
him?
slow, yeah, I do. And then it
Really?
slowly turns into mom. All right, well that was a great point. Joel, Joseph, Jolie over there,
Joe Meister.
Felipe.
Philip.
Oh no.
Thank you guys for watching. Please tell us your theories in the comments because we really want to hear them, because honestly, you guys could think of some that we haven't thought of. And if you guys are familiar with this, seriously, give us more points. Maybe you have more information that we don't know. Let us know so that maybe we can either change our point of view or just understand your point of view. If you guys want, just tell us which point of view you thought was more accurate to yourselves and which one you liked the most. And comment, like, and subscribe.
We'll see you next time.
See ya.
Bye.